The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we've initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Suspect Traceability, a way to manage changing requirements. Our guest speaker today is Suma SR, Product Specialist at TCS. Suma is a member of Tata Consultancy Services IBM Rational Technology Excellence Group, TEG. The Tata Consultancy Services IBM Rational Technology Excellence Group is a team of experts on rational software products and technology. The team has several breakthrough projects and several successful assignments to their credit. TEG focuses mainly on solution development and research into industry best practices, in addition to training and mentoring the project teams and consultants. She can be contacted at suma.sr@tcs.com. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker today. Over to you, Suma.
Thanks, Deepika, for the introduction. So, hello everyone. So today's topic is about the suspect traceability, a way to manage the changing requirements. I'm starting off with the topic today's session. I'm in the slide number 2, which is about the agenda. Today's topic I have categorized into 2 parts. In the first part, I'll be talking a bit on requirement management and traceability, and then we'll be looking into the suspect traceability. That is how to use the suspect traceability in IBM those next generation tool. Okay, and going on to the next slide. We all know that the world of requirement management has significantly developed in the last decade or so, and the requirement management has become one of the cornerstones of successful software projects. And there is also emergence of a lot of software tools which help in managing the requirements efficiently and effectively. Talking about the significance of the requirement management, I've moved on to the next slide. To state an example here, if you have heard about the replacement of Marine One helicopters, Marine One is an aircraft which carries the US president, and the US government had planned to replace this helicopters because they thought that they needed a significant upgrade to the communications and security systems of the helicopters. But they couldn't upgrade it because there was already more weight added to the aircraft. And so they came up with the thought of replacing the helicopters. They wanted to replace around 28 helicopters, and the cost for this increased from $6.1 billion US dollars to $11.2 billion US dollars. And a report released by the Defense Science Board, they blamed that this increase in the cost, it was a huge increase in the cost, and it was said that it was because of the poor communication of aircraft requirement. So here we can see that, if the requirements are not in the initial stage, if it's not captured properly, it can have a huge impact on the cost. Okay, and so what exactly happens if the requirements are not managed effectively? So without the effective requirement management, the business users will not have the timely access and accurate information, and this will hinder the communication, and it will also lead to a contribution to delays, errors, and excessive rework has to be done. So to avoid this, requirement has to be managed properly. And a research has estimated that being late to market by about 6 months or so will cost organizations up to 33% of the originally expected ROI. And surprisingly, only 28 projects are on time and budget, and also the 41% of the projects, they fail to deliver the expected business values. So it is important for the organization, in order to meet the customer business and regulatory needs, they need to manage the requirements properly. Moving on to the next slide, this slide talks about the reason for the project failure. So the IBM Systems magazine have stated 7 reasons for the top 7 reasons actually for the project failure. You can see that one of the reasons is poor project planning and insufficient communication, ineffective management, failure to align with stakeholders, ineffective involvement of management, lack of soft skills and or the ability to adapt, poor or missing methodology and tools. So these are the top 7 reasons why the software project fails. And an article, that is an IEEE article by Robert Charlotte, he states, he also states, few reasons for the project failure, and among them, the top reasons are, the software projects are the poor definition of requirements, poor management, and communication failure among the stakeholders. So this screenshot, which is whatever is here, it was taken from the IEEE article. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit, and I hope you're able to see it. So this states, I mean, the real project, how much money is being wasted entirely every year because of the poor requirement management. So, for example, in the year 2005, the Hudson Bay Company, they had a huge loss of $33.3 million because they had faced some problems with inventory system. And similarly, in 2004, if you see, the Sainsbury, okay, they had problems with supply chain management, costing them a huge loss of $527 million. So, so basically, if the requirement management is not done properly, so a huge cost has to be, borne. And moving on to the next slide. So, what exactly is this requirement management? So, all these while I was talking why the requirement management was important. Before moving on to the requirement management, so what is this requirement actually? Requirement can be anything. It can be anything from an abstract need to a well drilled down implementation detail of the system. And what a requirement essentially represents depends on whom we are talking to. So if you're talking to a client, it would be the need of the client. And you'd be talking in terms of business requirements with the customers, and in terms of system requirements for vendors, and for developers and testers, you'll be talking in terms of product specifications. So the requirement management. So the requirement management can be considered as the management of requirements starting from when a customer provides the need, or when a product development has just started. So it basically includes the managing the definition, elaboration, and changing requirements throughout the development life cycle. So the requirement management will have certain steps. So first you have to come up with the requirement management plan. Then the requirements have to be elicited, developing the vision document, use cases, and test cases have to be built from the use cases, and the system design specifications have to be documented. So these are some of the steps of requirement management. Coming to traceability, requirement traceability. So when do we say that a software project is successful? When exactly the stakeholder requirements are met, we say that the software project was successful. But how do we say that, how can we encourage this? So basically by using the traceability. So traceability in nutshell, it just shows the forward and the backward relationship by linking the requirements with the design, implementation, test, and maintenance artifacts. Okay. So there are 3 elements. I can just say that there are 3 elements to requirement traceability. The first thing is, so the traceability, it just follows the life of an requirement. When I say about the life, it's from the idea to the implementation. So that I'm stating it as live here. And the traceability also shows how the requirement impact each other and how the requirement impacts the other development artifacts like the design, test, task, source code, hardware specifications, and vice versa. And the third element is the traceability shows the decomposition of a requirement. So you will have a high-level requirements, and to the high-level requirements, when I say the high-level requirements, it will be the customer need. So from there, you can drill down your requirement to the system or subsystem or hardware requirements. Okay, so so we can have the traceability relationship. So traceability relationship can be established by linking the artifacts. So the type of link that you define between the artifacts establishes the traceability relationship. So for example, you can have a satisfied by link. For example, you can say a system requirement satisfies a user requirement. As an example, you can take it, for example, you have an requirement that is a system requirement which says the engine shall have at least 200 bhp. So this system requirement satisfies the user requirement. The car shall be capable of accelerating in 60 miles per hour in under 8 seconds or so. So we can say that one requirement is satisfied by the other requirement or satisfies the other requirement, and similarly a requirement has to be validated by test case. So these are the different link types that can be established. Dependency. So one requirement is depend on the other requirement. And why is this traceability important? It ensures that the requirements are met. Okay, and it lowers the risk. You will actually have a control over the change. You can see what exactly is changing, and if there is any change, it will show the impact to the other related artifacts as well. Okay, and the traceability supports the below mentioned activities, that is the derivation, elaboration and coverage analysis, impact analysis, life cycle coverage analysis, progress analysis, reporting. So what is the derivation, elaboration, coverage analysis? If you have a high level requirement, okay, so the traceability between the requirements to specify the source, derivation or dependencies. So you can just traceability helps you to show that if there is any if a requirement, that is a high level requirement, if you have derived any other low level requirements, and a particular high level requirement, if you have elaborated, so links will be established between the high level requirement and the elaborated requirement. And talking about impact analysis, so traceability helps to assess the impact of change. So when a requirement changes based on an input from a stakeholder, the traceability will help to assess the impact and the cost of change. Okay, so for example, we can use the suspect profiles. I'll talk about the suspect profiles in the future slide. So there is a concept of suspect profiles. So when we enable the suspect profiles, you will be able to track the changed artifacts. So the traceability can be the basis for negotiating the change. So this helps to expose the dependencies and any other hidden costs. Okay. So traceability also helps in life cycle coverage analysis. By this I mean that it verifies, the traceability verifies that all the necessary development and testing teams are in place for implementing and validating the requirements. Okay. And progress analysis. So using traceability, you can track the progress and the completion status of the requirements. Reporting, so you can actually get the reports of all the above mentioned the points. So that is how traceability helps in all these activities. Okay, and you can use the link types. As I said, the traceability relationship is established by using the link types validated by, implemented by, derived from, to, and those are the different link types. And you can also visually see the link between the artifacts using the link explorer. It is nothing but a graphical view. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is all about the introduction to requirement management and traceability. So now I'll be introducing you to IBM Rational Project Suite. So IBM has come up with um, this solution for the collaborative lifecycle management. And in my previous slide, you just saw that one of the reasons for software project failure is that there is no proper methodologies and tools that has been implemented in the project. So nowadays, there are lots of tools available in the market, for managing the requirements and managing other tasks, source control management, build management, everything. IBM has come up with the offerings that covers the entire lifecycle software development phases. So, and this IBM has called as IBM Rational Solution for Collaborative Lifecycle Management. Okay. So, in this slide, you can actually see the offerings of IBM. I would actually just zoom in to show you. Okay, this particular picture shows you the offerings of IBM. So by using this solution, that is the rational solution to CLM, productivity can be enhanced because this solution encourages the team to work in collaboration. So this solution is basically built on a JAS platform. Okay. So this brings together actually the requirement management, quality management, change in configuration management, and the design management on a single unified platform, which is called as JAS. So this tool, when I say about the collaboration, so the teams working, that is the globally distributed teams, will work together so that it has a centralized repository so that everybody will have access and they'll know there is a exposure. Everybody working in the team will know what exactly is happening. So coming to the rational dose NEXTGEN. So in this slide you can see it has requirement composer. This rational requirement composer has been renamed as dose next generation. Shortly we call it as DNG. So this tool, it has the capability for capturing, managing, and tracing the requirements. And the next tool is the rational team consult. So this tool has the capabilities for tracking the task, source control, planning, and continuous builds. And the other one is the quality manager. This is the quality manager. So this has the capability for the test management, which includes the test planning, creation, and execution. And the rational design manager. So with this rational software architect design manager, the teams which are globally distributed can store and manage the designs and models. So all these four tools are integrated together. Okay. So in the next image, so this image shows how the team helps the analyst, the development team, and the test team to work together. So basically, this solution, that is the CLM, it connects the analyst, developers, and the testers. So in this image, you can see that the analyst uses the rational dose next generation or any requirement management tool. So the requirements captured in this tool, okay, will be implemented by the work items captured in the rational team consult. So as I said, the team consult is basically for task tracking. So tasks will be defined in the team consult, and the requirements will be implemented by the work items, that is the task. Okay, and the requirements, what is the requirements defined in the dose, will be validated by the test cases that are defined in the rational quality manager. Okay, and in the team consult, I told you that basically the project manager or the development managers, they will create the iteration plan, okay, to implement the requirements that are being captured in the rational dose NEXTGEN. So and also the developers will work on the defects that has been submitted by. So once the testing team finds any bug, so they'll raise the defect in the team consult, and the developers will have access to those defects, and they will work on the defects submitted by the testers. And in Archeon, So the testers will make the test cases to the requirements captured in those next generation, and also they will submit the defects. So you can see here the link. So this is how the solution, the IBM solution, helps the analysts and the developers and the test teams to connect with each other. So now let's move on to the IBM DOS NEXTGEN. So our focus is mainly on the IBM DOS Next Generation tool. So this slide talks about the overview of the IBM DOS Next Generation. So it talks about what features are basically present here. You can define the requirements using the DOS Next Generation tool. When I talk about defining the requirements, it has a rich text editor which helps you to define the rich text documents. You can create the diagrams. So you just have an editor wherein you have to drag and drop the elements which are required to create the business process diagrams, use case diagrams, storyboards, and other diagrams. You can create the project glossaries, and you have templates which helps you to quickly start up with the project. You have formal template, agile-based template. So templates help you to quickly start up with the project. And so visibility. So when I talk about visibility, it is about how the project, what are the ongoings in the project. So those will be visible to all the team members. And how the DOS supports this feature is, it has the customizable dashboard. So dashboard is nothing but, it just gives you an overview of the things that is happening in the project. So this solution is a web-based solution. So when the user logs in, the first thing that he'll see is the dashboard. So dashboard will have so many widgets. So it will show, whether a user is, having access to which all the projects and any comments made to the artifact. So you have different kinds of widgets which will give you an overview, a quick view on what is happening in the project. And you can have different views, analysis views. So for the analyst, for example, if he wants to view only, what are the link types, that has been the requirement has. So you can actually customize your view. Okay, there are attributes. Each artifact will have different attributes. So he can choose the view. He can customize his view based on the attributes. And collections. So there is this feature called collections and modules in those next generation. So collection is nothing but you group the artifacts, requirement artifacts for some specific purpose. It can be anything. It is upon the user. And modules is nothing but it is a hierarchical definition of the requirement. And whatever the tracking, you can have the reporting widget. So whatever the tracking can be done, that also is visible to the whole team. And collaboration, as I said, it helps the team to work in collaboration, the globally distributed team. So for this, how it is being supported is you have the review and the approval feature, discussions and email notifications. So you can send the requirements for approval. You can add the reviewers and the approvers, and approval of the requirements can be done. And coming to discussions, so if you want to discuss about a particular requirement with your team member, you can invite him for the discussion just by tagging him, in the comment section. Just tag his name. He will get a notification saying that you have invited him for the discussion. And coming to the management of the requirements, so you have the traceability, suspect links, filtering, change history. You can check the history. So when I talk about the attributes and the artifact types, so based on the project needs, you can create your own artifact types and you can create your own attributes. So for example, if you want to know the status of the requirement, so you can create your own requirement saying, the status is complete, in progress. So all those, everything can be customized using this tool. So we spoke about traceability. So we'll see how this feature has been supported in those next generation, and also about the suspect link. And history, you can check the history of the artifact. That is also possible. And life cycle. So when I talk about life cycle, it is not just one tool. It's about integration with the rest of the tools. That is whatever I spoke about, the RTC and Archium. So integrating with that. So you will have a central repository wherein you can view all your requirements, test artifacts, and development, and planning. So when I talk about planning, it's about the RTC. So RTC helps in planning, task management, and effort estimation. So this is all about the overview of the DOS next generation. So traceability and suspect traceability, we just spoke about traceability. It is nothing but it helps to determine, whether a requirement is satisfied from the idea through the implementation to the testing and so on. And so traceability relationship we can create by defining the link type. And this tool has a feature called as Link Explorer, which is a graphical view which will show you which requirements are linked to which other artifacts. Okay, and suspect traceability. Now coming to suspect traceability, so it is nothing but it indicates if there is any potential change to the linked artifact. So we know that the links between the artifacts within one project or the links between the project areas, they actually represent important traceability relationships and also the dependencies. So whenever there is any change, okay, any change to the artifact that needs to be made, so the stakeholders must be aware that if you make change to one of the requirements, it will impact the related requirements as well. So with suspect traceability, what happens is the linked artifacts are marked with indicators which will show that if any change has been made to this particular artifact, it will affect the rest of the artifacts which are linked to it. Okay, and for this suspect traceability, we have a concept of suspicion profiles. So these suspicion profiles are created by the tool administrators. Okay, so for a particular project area, there can be more than one suspicion profile. And what is this suspicion profile? It is nothing but it will specify which link types, artifact types, and attributes the user wants to watch in a project. Okay, so whichever artifact types or the link types that you are watching, if there is any change to those particular link types and the artifacts and the attributes, it shows that it will help in determining the related artifact, if it is impacting the related artifact. Okay, so if I have to say it in example, I can put it this way, like for example, if an analyst wants to know if there is a change to a particular link type which has the and the artifact has the priority attribute. Okay, and this is the user story requirement. He's talking about the user story requirement, and this user story requirement is also linked to a feature requirement. Okay, so at that time you will create a profile named as analyst. Okay, and you will select the criteria whichever you want. Okay, so that if there is any change made to the attribute priority, so if the priority changes from high to medium, then a notification, a suspect traceability indicator will be shown for that particular artifact, and that will be seen. That will be shown to the analyst. Okay, and so suspect indicators. So it is nothing but an indicator which will show that there is some change made to the artifact. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. So how the traceability can be seen in the DOS next generation. So it has the Link Explorer is nothing but it's a graphical view of the linking. So it shows which requirement is linked to which other requirement in a graphical format. When you open an artifact, okay, you will be able to see if an artifact is linked to which other artifact. So for example, one of the requirement is linked to the other. I can't say the requirement is actually because it has the link type validated by, and it is linked to another artifact which has the link type implemented by. So I can say this is a task. Okay, so you can see which artifact is linked to which other artifact. Okay, so this is one thing. And here you can see an image which shows the Link Explorer. So if you click on Link Explorer, it will give you in the preview. Okay, so as you can see here, I hope you are able to see it. I've just zoomed in. I think you're able to see it now. Not sure. Okay, there is some lag. I'm just waiting for the the view to change here. Okay. So you can have different layouts. Layouts is nothing but if you show the information in different formats of them. So you have basic layout, radial layout, and walker layout. So these are three different layouts in those next generation tools. So here you can see that the requirement, one particular requirement is linked to so many other artifacts, and it will also show the relationship type, the link type it will define. So it is easy for you to the view if one artifact is changed, what will be the impact on the other artifact. Okay. And so the other things are the different layouts, the radial layouts and walker layouts. Also, you can change the arrangement of the artifact. For example, if you want to show it in a portrait mode, okay, or a landscape mode, and you have curvy wires and enable the compactness, there are so many options for you to view. So this is about the link explorer. This is one feature that the those next generation supports. So coming to suspect traceability in those next gen, so actual topic. So suspicion profiles, I was talking about the suspicion profiles. So these suspicion profiles are nothing but it will identify a set of link types, artifact types, and attributes to watch for changes. So you have to, the administrator has to create a profile to watch for the changes. So and the suspicion profiles are the basis for the suspect traceability. A project area can have more than one suspicion profile, and the users have to choose a suspicion profile based on their role. If a developer wants to see any changes, he has to select the profile named as developer. Okay, so each profile will have its own the set of attributes or the link types to watch for. So when the artifacts that match the profile criteria are changed. So for example, if you're watching for the implemented by link type, okay, so if any changes are made to the artifact that has this implemented by relationship, then the linked artifacts are marked with a suspicion indicator. So these suspicion indicators, it will alert the team members to show that if there is any possible impact of change. Okay, and in the current release of this tool, only the requirement management has the suspicion profile feature. So, but however, using these suspicion profiles, we can actually track the changes to the linked artifacts even in the change in configuration management, that is the RTC, and the quality management, that is RQM tools. Okay, and then you can view the suspect indicators in the requirement management application. Okay, suspect indicators will be shown in the requirement management application if you have made any changes even to the task or the test cases. Okay? And so these suspect traceability indicators are helpful, very useful in tracking the changes. So this image you can see. So this is where you define a name or you name a suspicion profile. For example, I've named it as JKE analyst. Okay, JKE is just a project name I've given, and you will have all the link types listed. So for a particular project area, if you have 100 link types, so all the link types will be listed here, and you just have to click on watch if you want to keep a track of that particular link type. Okay, so we'll see in the further slides, how exactly to create. So how to create a suspicion profile? When the admin login, admin has to create. So from the administration homepage, if you go to the administration icon, you'll have an option to manage suspicion profile. So once he clicks on the manage suspicion profile, the next thing is a project area has to be selected. Okay, or the particular tool might have so many other projects, so you have to select your project area, and then you have to create the profile name. Okay, give a profile name and create the add the criteria. So you can add the link type, you can add the attributes, you can also add the artifact type. So here in this screenshot, I'm keeping a track of the affected by, elaborated by, and artifact team reference link type. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. As I told, you can also select, you can also add the criteria such as artifact types and attributes to watch. So this is how it looks. So you can have n number of artifact types from requirements, I mean functional requirements, non-functional requirements, use cases, user schedules. So whichever requirement or artifact type you want to keep a track of, those can be selected. And every artifact will have the attributes like the modified by, who created, the status, the priority, and everything. So whichever you want, you can just select all those. So this is where you define the criteria for the suspicion profile. So once it's done, you can actually go and review it by clicking on the show. It will show you what all you have selected. Okay, and after that, once the suspicion profile has been created, you have to go and track the application. So whatever you are seeing here, it's an integrated environment wherein the requirement management, that is the those next generation, and the quality management and the change in configuration, everything are linked, okay, interlinked. So if you want to track the applications or any changes in the requirement, so you have to track based on the link types that are relevant to your profile. So for example, if you want to track the links between the requirements and the related requirement artifacts, okay, in the requirement management application, then you have to click on track. So this is where you have to only the requirement management application has to be tracked, because you're just looking for the links between the requirement artifacts, only the requirement artifacts. And if you want to track the links between the requirement and the task, okay. So for example, you have a link type called implemented by, that is the requirement is implemented by the task, okay. Then you have to keep a track of both the applications, that is the requirement management and the change in configuration management, okay. And similarly, if you want to keep a track of the validated by, so the requirement is validated by the test case, then you have to keep a track of these two applications, that is the requirement management and the quality management. So based on your link type, you have to keep a track of the application. Okay. So just to give a sort of a quick overview. So the first thing is, in a project area, we have to create the profile based on the link type. Okay. And to make the criteria even more specific, you can add the artifact types and the attribute types. Okay. And then you have to keep a track of the application. So if the link type you select in the profile links the artifacts across the applications, then you have to keep a track of the linked artifacts in both the applications, which I just now mentioned. Requirement management and CCM you have to keep a track of. Okay. And so, for example, if you have the link implemented by type, okay, and this implemented by type exists between the requirement management, that is the requirements, and the work items. And if you enable, what happens, if you don't enable for both the applications? So if you enable only for the requirement management, then the team member, whoever is using the suspicion profile, will be able to see the suspect indicators only when the requirements are changed. Okay. So if anybody changes the task, okay, which is in the CCM, that is the change in configuration management, they will not come to know, because you have selected, you are keeping a track of only the requirement management application. Okay. So he will not be able to see if there is any change made to the task. So it is important to make sure that you keep a track of the application, whichever is appropriate to the link type that you have chosen. Okay. And now moving on to the next slide. So what are the suspect traceability indicators? So as I told, it is an indicator which alerts the team members if there is any possible impact of changes in the linked artifact. So here you can see, okay, so this is a view wherein it is listing, the project area, it lists all the artifacts. And I have created this view wherein I have added a column for the suspicion. So you can see the suspicion indicator which has this yellow, with the question mark. So when I just hover over that, it says that one linked artifact has changed significantly. Okay, and it will also show the linked artifact. That is another feature 5 has been linked to this. Okay, and you can view this. when you open an artifact, you have this link tab wherein you can just see which artifact has been linked to which other artifact. So to take an example here, just consider requirement 1, okay, is linked to requirement 2, and it is also linked to the task 1 in CPM. Okay. So whenever a user makes changes to requirement 1, the other linked artifact will have a black arrow, that is the outward arrow on the indication, which means that the change is in the current artifact. You can see here. So it says that whatever changes you have made in the current artifact, because I'm viewing it from the current artifact, it says that these two artifacts will be affected. So it shows an outward arrow, okay, saying that you have made change, some change to requirement 1, okay, and because of that, these two artifacts will be impacted, okay. And in the next image, you can see here you have a red arrow, which means that, for example, again you can consider the same example. You have requirement 1 and requirement 2. Okay, so two users are working on different requirements. Okay, and both of them make changes to requirement 1, and the other person makes changes to requirement 2. So now both the artifacts have some changes in it. So in that particular case, what happens is, if you show this red indicator, which means that there is changes in both the current artifact and the linked artifact. Okay, and this blue indicator, so it shows that there is a change in the linked artifact. So I've opened some other artifact and I'm viewing it. It shows that whatever it shows the inward direction, which means that there is a change in the other artifact, the linked artifact, which will have an impact on this artifact as well. So this is how the indicator works, with different colors and the directions. So you can make out which artifact has exactly changed. Okay. And moving on to the next slide. So how do you view the suspect traceability? So I told you the user has to select the suspicion profile. You can see here you have developer and suspicion analyst. So these are the two profiles. So once they select it, okay, before selecting, how you can select it is you have to open the artifact in the editor. So when you open it, you will have an option to select the profile. So once the profiles are selected, you can see here in this is the overview of the artifact. Okay, it lists all the attributes, and you will have a field called as is suspect. It says no, which means that there is no change to this artifact. Okay, this will be shown only after you select the profile. Okay, and here you can see that indicator, which means that there is some change to profile. I mean the artifact. I'm sorry. So there are different ways you can view the suspect traceability. So one is in the artifact display page itself, you can have your own view. So I said views can be created by adding the attributes and saving. You can save the views. So I've added the attributes. That is, I've added a column here named as suspicion, which will show that if there is any suspicion, the suspect indicator will be shown here. So this is one thing. And the other thing is you have a requirements view widget. So these widgets will come on the dashboard. So you can customize your widget. So I have selected my suspicion traceability view. You first have to save the view, and then I've selected that. I'll show you in the next slide how to do that. And I also showed that in the artifact editor sidebar, you can see what has been exactly changed. If there is an outward direction, what it means, inward direction, what it means. So these are the different things. And about the suspicion widget, so the first image which you can see, this is what a user will be looking at when he first logs in. This is called the dashboard. So here to the dashboard, I've added my requirement view widget. You can select the particular view. So if you have saved a view with the suspect traceability column, so that view you can choose here, so that you can see in this. You can see if there is any suspicion in the artifact. Okay, and so okay, now you have identified that there is some impact, to the change, and you want to clear it. So how do you clear it? So you can clear it based on the necessary actions that you take. At times you might feel that it's only a small change and you can ignore it. Otherwise, you can take the necessary step. But before that, how will you see what has been changed? So I said when you hover over it, you can see the artifact that has been linked, and you also have an option called clear all, clear for So now how do you see what has been changed? You have a feature called as audit history. So when you open an artifact, you have a feature called as history. When you click on it, you can see who has changed what. Okay. So you would have logged in. So here you can see the box changed on November 10th. So the user at what time and what exactly the blue text shows that this text was added. Okay, so you can view the changes using the audit history. And one more thing is you can view it as a traceability view can be, that is the link explorer I'm talking about. You can see which artifact has been impacted by the change in the artifact. So if you make a change in the feature 5, that is this artifact, the other two artifacts, feature 1 and task 1 will be affected. Okay, and based on that you can take your actions. Okay, so how is that? Is by clearing all. So clearing all, it will remove the suspicion from the window. So this is, I'm talking about this window. Okay, so this particular window has two artifacts, that is task 1 and feature 1. So it will clear the suspicion for both these artifacts at one shot. And clear for profiles, it will remove the suspicion for the artifact that is being defined for the profile. So for analyst profile, if there is there are so many suspicion indicators, so all that will be removed for the analyst profile. And you have this clear for this particular for a particular artifact. If you want to clear the suspicion, you can just click on clear. So this is how you clear the suspect traceability. And one small note on suspicion indexing. So how does it change? If you make a change to one of the artifacts, how does it get reflected? Okay, it is because of this suspicion indexing. So this application, okay, it automatically builds an index of change information when when you add the link types and attribute types and the artifacts, when you add those, so it builds an index. So this index you have to make sure that it is up to date. So here you can see the state. So the state says that it is up to date. Okay, it means that whatever changes you have made, okay, if you have made a change to one of the artifacts, yeah, if the change is reflected to the linked artifact as well. And the interval at which this index keeps rebuilding is every 60 seconds. And this 60 seconds can be changed, okay, by the admin. It has to be, and then you have to manually rebuild it. Re-indexing, you can see re-indexing, pausing, and stuff. So, so this is all about the suspect traceability feature of IBM DOS Next Generation. And so you can refer to jazz.net. So you will have to use this tool to know more about this tool. You can actually log into jazz.net. You can download the tool. It has a 60-day trial. You can use it in your environment. Okay. So, thank you.
Thanks, Suma.
Any questions?
Yeah, thanks for the insightful presentation. I would request you to take up the questions now. Please read them out and their answers so that all our users may listen to your commendable insights.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I've got a question. If the test cases can be stored in DOS, what does Team Center do exactly? See, I'm not saying test cases are stored in DOS. That is what I meant. Like, I'm talking about the integration of the tools here. The test cases will be created in the quality manager, the rational quality manager, and those test cases will be linked to the requirements in the rational DOS. Okay, so test cases are not stored in the DOS. Okay. So which version of DOS introduced suspect traceability? The version 4, Jazz version 4.
Okay, so I think we have these questions. So this brings us to the end of the session. Thank you, Suma. Thanks for this great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgeek.com very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Deepika.
Have a great evening. Thanks.